Go.
One of the things I actually really love about Korea, and one of the things that I've brought back and my family now enjoys, is the food. We absolutely love Korean food. And so I learned how to cook a little bit. So now when we come home, we have all kinds of Korean food where we've got kimchi in the fridge all the time and different sauces and things. And we can always make whatever dish sounds good and looks good.
Well, kimchi is sometimes, it varies. There's a lot of variation, like sauerkraut, but kimchi has quite a bit of differentiation. And so, for me, some kimchi is great, but it's always very healthy, I heard. But anyway, Nathan, thanks for sharing that with me. Now we're live on Facebook. So I wanted to introduce you to my audience. Now, I'm Gary Perot, Professor Cashflow, and you guys know me as the guy who brings you interesting ideas on how you can create truly passive income. And any of you have read the book that's sitting over my right shoulder on Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or his Cashflow Quadrant, you know that his whole thing was about passive income. And Nathan, that's why I'm very interested in talking to you as the Canadian note guy. So that's what I turned this meeting, Professor Cashflow meets the Canadian note guy. So
great. And
welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Excellent book choices. I see Rich Dad, Poor Dad and Invest in Debt. Two excellent books. Highly recommend them.
There's another one. Actually, you might be, from what little I know about your story, you might be interested in this one as well. So that's a great book. I'm probably going to put that one on the shelf as well. Okay. But yeah, Jimmy Napier's book is awesome.
Yeah, fantastic.
So anyway, I'm just curious. How long you been doing real estate?
Real estate, if we go back to the real estate days, that started in about 2005, 2006, somewhere in there.
And so before that, you were actually in Korea, right?
Yeah, I lived in Korea for a total of 3 years.
Oh, great.
Total of 3 years. So often 2 years and then home for a few years and then back for another year.
So now you are a missionary there as a young single guy. You came back and you and your wife got married. And you were thinking, well, what do we do now? Well, one thing I know I could do is I could teach. I know I can speak English and I could probably teach English, and there's a demand for that in Korea. So you decided to just cast your line and go have an adventure. Is that what happened?
Yeah, it was great. One of the back then, I'm not sure what it is now, but back then the qualification was you needed to have a bachelor's degree. So both my wife and I both had bachelor's degrees. And so we could both go and teach, and it was a fun adventure, and we went and saw all kinds of cool things, and it had tons of fun. It was a great start to the marriage. It was fun.
Awesome. And, being a teacher is not a bad thing when you're a real estate investor. Is that right?
Oh, there are so many different, you collect experiences over your lifetime, and teaching is definitely one of those things that is a valuable skill to have no matter what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So how did you get into real estate?
It's so interesting. Life just kind of happens. So back in 2005, 2006, if you think back in those times, TLC, the TV channel, and first of all, the TV channel, and then we were watching, with commercials and everything, but we were watching, Flip This House and some of those shows where it's people going in and buying a house and flipping it. And we weren't watching, after a little while, we weren't watching just for entertainment. We were taking notes. We were studying on how to do this and how to do it right. We kind of always had a bit of an interest in real estate and thought we could do that, and so we started doing that, and it was a lot of fun for a while. So
you were flipping houses?
Yeah, flipping houses. It's fun because I live in Montreal, Quebec, and then we were flipping houses in Saskatoon. So to give you a sense of geography, Montreal is just above.
You know what, America, people in the United States know nothing about Canadian geography. I'll be the first to admit it.
Right. So Montreal is just above like Albany, New York. If you go straight north, you'll hit Montreal. Right. Saskatoon is just north of like Wyoming. Okay. So if you go straight up from Wyoming, that's Saskatoon. So I was buying and flipping houses in Saskatoon while living in Montreal. So I would pack up a suitcase with tools and a sleeping bag, sleep on the floor, work like crazy. And back then the market was hot enough. Oftentimes I had the house sold before I got back on the plane. So that was fun.
That's pretty amazing. That's pretty aggressive. It's not something that everybody wants to do. Not
No.
everybody can is willing to swing a hammer and become an expert like you did and jump in with both feet. But that kept up until what?
Until all of a sudden market changed.
Yes.
The fall of 2008. So I ended up getting stuck with 2 properties where they were almost done rehab, and then all of a sudden the market very, very quickly changed. And so instead of flipping it, I ended up being a landlord, which
awesome. That was a wonderful experience, wasn't it?
That was great. That was very challenging. So every time the tenant changed, it was actually easier and cheaper for me to get on a plane, go out and do the repairs that always needed to be done when somebody left, and then get back on a plane and come back and have it rented out by somebody else. So it was time consuming and difficult, and I didn't really enjoy it.
And my experience with a lot of landlords is that the profit on paper never quite works out the way they expect because of vacancies, because of repairs and maintenance and all that. Is that true?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so that was always a constant challenge of just trying to manage it properly. And my property manager was awful, where literally every month I had to call him and be like, so are we getting paid this month? Oh yeah. I just got to do some paperwork. And somewhere around the 25th, I'd get the check, and it was just a constant headache. So I didn't love that.
So how would you compare note business? So first of all, give us, for anybody who might not know about notes, give us a short little insight into what owning a note is and how it is different from being a landlord.
Yeah. So I heard somebody say it once, and I'm going to borrow whoever said it. There's the difference between being a landlord and a lien lord. So with the landlord, you own the property, you're responsible for all the upkeep. The person living in the house pays a monthly payment. They don't really care too much. They move out, and that's how it is. Being a lien lord, owning a note, I don't actually own the property itself. I own the mortgage. So I own the lien against the property.
Okay.
So the house is still the security, the same as if being a landlord, but I'm not responsible for the house itself. If you think of like a bank today, if you think on your house with your mortgage, the bank doesn't fix your roof. It doesn't fix the leaky toilet. It doesn't do those things because it's the bank, and you're the homeowner. That's your responsibility. So that's the position I put myself in, to be the bank. So I don't have to do all those things. That's the responsibility of the person living there.
But doesn't the landlord make a lot more money than just the bank?
No. If anything,
that's a softball question right up the middle for you.
No, if anything, the monthly payments, usually they're higher than rent. Sometimes let's just, all things being equal, let's see the payment is the same. But because I don't have any of the upkeep of the property, I don't have to paint anything. I don't have to fix that toilet. I don't have to change the flooring because they burned a hole in it or whatever. All that cost savings goes into helping me actually make more money, bring home more money with a mortgage. And it's a whole lot easier than swinging a hammer.
But is it a lot safer to be the landlord? Because I mean, if somebody slips and falls, you'd really want to be the landlord, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no. No, and that's another beautiful thing, is because I don't hold title to the property, I don't hold any of the liability for that property either. So that it's a really nice situation to be in, and I'm so glad I learned about it and I've figured it out over time here. It's been great.
Well, Nathan, that's awesome insight, and it lines up with a lot of my experience. But what I do in my business is I help people find notes. I am oftentimes in the notes with them. Okay. And that's great for them. But another thing is that it means that I do a lot of paperwork. I have a lot more work to do because I have individual notes. So for each investor, I might have a note with them, and I'm co-owning it with them, or however we structure it, so that I can help them along. Yeah. So they don't have to go out and find their notes, but it's there's a lot of hand-holding, a lot of headaches that go along with it. So in the interest of being passive I mean,
Yeah.
it's less passive for me than it is for them. For an investor, a single note is fine. But
Sure.
I heard that you're now you have a fund now. And what's the advantage?
Yeah.
How would you compare having a fund versus having a note?
Well, even with your situation, I'm sure you've got investors where from time to time, perhaps you actually have to consult with them and say, so I've got this situation, here's what's going on. We've got this issue or that issue, and what do you think? And collectively you come up with a decision. And for some people, that's great. They want to be involved, they want to be active, they want to know what's going on, and that's wonderful. For other people who just want to be passive, a fund is great because you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. With the fund structure, I take on all that roller coaster, and for the investor, they just get their monthly return or their quarterly or however that's structured. Mine's quarterly, but that's really their only concern is if they're getting paid or not, and that's it.
That's great. That's great. And just to be fair, to the people that are watching it and wondering how I do my business, I go out of my way to make it very simple for my investors so that if there's an up and a down, I'm communicating with them, but they're not the guys rolling up their sleeves and trying to figure out what to do. That's why they work with me, because I know what to do and I just keep them abreast. But most of the time, those checks just keep running in. And as long as the checks keep rolling in, they're happy. They're getting what they paid for. Right. And the neat thing about notes, and I'm sure you're familiar with this, is that if you go in with the right investment relative to the value of the asset, if something goes wrong, you'll usually make more money if the guy stops paying than if he continues to pay. So the terms of the note are usually the bottom line. But again, I love the idea of passive income. I'm all about passive income. So tell me just a little bit more about how that works and who you found that actually benefit the most from investing in the type of fund that you're developing. Nathan, are you still hearing me? Hello? Okay. Nathan, I can see myself, my lips are moving. I don't know what's happening on your end. Can you still hear me? Okay, well, I don't know if the folks out in Facebook land can still hear me. So what we were going to talk about with Nathan is the benefits of being in a fund. Now it looks like I'm still here and he's dropped off. So hopefully he'll come on in just a little bit. But let me tell you a little bit that I learned from Nathan is that he has a preferred rate of return for his investors. Now, I'm not going to say what that rate is, but he basically commits to that. And the cool thing about a preferred rate of return is that that's money that anytime any money comes in, you get your percentage before he gets anything. So he's the guy who puts it together and you get the preferred rate. So you get your income first. And then if there's money left over, which, by design there will be, then he gets his money. And then there's a variety if more money comes in, I don't know exactly how, but he does use a preferred rate of return for his investors. And that's one of the reasons that investing in a fund is excellent. Another benefit to investing in a fund, which we didn't have a chance to talk about, is that now instead of just being one note, there are multiple notes. And so again, it's more diversified. And that way, even if some guy stops making payments, that's something you usually factor into the a well-designed fund model. And you can have one or two people stop paying and it doesn't even affect anything. So that's the benefit of a note of a fund. And I'm sorry, but Nathan did fall off here and we're still recording. So let me just say that you can contact me at passivemonthlyprofits.com. I usually have my writing board here. I don't know if I can bring it around here. If it slides easily, I can show you that. So passivemonthlyprofits.com. This was a previous one. Passive Monthly Profits. If you want to get in touch with Nathan, you can probably find him on The Canadian Note Guy. Just Google that, and I'm sure you'll find him. Nathan Turner is his name. And he's an awesome guy. I'm really glad that I met him. I would like to try something similar down the road. And so I'm a student as well. It always pays to be a student, a continual student, especially where your money is concerned. So I just want to encourage everyone to continue to learn. Go ahead and reach out at passivemonthlyprofits.com. You can set up a time. We can talk more about how we can help you take your investments, especially in your IRAs or your Roth IRAs, and take even a small balance and create massive growth for your retirement. So that's it. I appreciate you guys watching, ladies and gents, and I look forward to the next opportunity that we have to chat. Take care and God bless. Bye-bye.